That tightness in your chest every time you open your banking app? That is not your fault. It is the sound of a system working exactly as designed to keep you running on a treadmill that is rigged to never stop. The American dream was quietly restructured into a subscription service while you were playing by the old rules. The fact that your bank account is not growing the way it should, the fact that a modest life feels entirely out of reach, is not because you bought a cup of coffee this morning. Your financial struggle right now is not a bug in the system. It is a feature. Think about Marcus. Marcus is 34 years old. He is a mid-level manager in Austin, Texas. He makes $85,000 a year. He works 50 hours a week, sometimes more. He does not drive a luxury car. He does not take lavish European vacations. Every month, he quietly pays his $2,200 rent, which eats up nearly 45% of his take-home pay. Over the years, through sheer discipline, Marcus has scraped together $60,000 in savings. By all traditional metrics, Marcus is a responsible, hard-working adult. But Marcus is exhausted. He is standing at the bottom of a massive ladder, looking up at the first rung, the dream of simply owning a home. But the rung is just out of his reach. He decides to be patient. He decides to stand there and wait for the ladder to be lowered. He is waiting for interest rates to magically drop back to 3%. He is waiting for a market crash that will finally make things fair. But what Marcus does not realize, what no one tells him, is that while he is looking up at the ladder, the ground beneath his feet is quietly flooding. Rent increases and inflation are the water, and they are slowly rising inch by inch, threatening to drown him while he waits for a miracle. Right now, the media is throwing a party. Financial news anchors are smiling on television, celebrating because we are seeing 6% mortgage rates. They call it a massive victory. They say it is the lowest we have seen in 3.5 years. They are selling you a feeling, a dangerous dose of hopium, making you believe that this is just a temporary pit stop on the long journey back to the glory days of incredibly cheap debt. But for Marcus, and probably for you, this is a psychological trap. It is an illusion of winning. Let's strip away the headlines and look at the mechanics of your erosion. When we pull the data for the U.S. Housing Market Outlook 2026, the picture is brutally clear. Housing supply is sitting at near record lows. Despite the higher cost of borrowing, home prices are projected to climb another 4% this year. Those 6% mortgage rates are not a ceiling that is about to collapse. They are the new floor. They are the new baseline for this decade. The era of basically free money was a historical anomaly, a fever dream we are never waking up to again. Standing on the sidelines, holding your breath, and waiting for a catastrophic housing crash to save you is exactly like standing in the middle of a desert, looking up at a clear blue sky and waiting for a blizzard. It is mathematically and historically irrational. You might be wondering why it is so incredibly hard to just find a normal house to buy. Why is the supply so restricted? Recently, there was a lot of noise about the government finally putting a leash on Wall Street landlords. When you hear about institutional buyer limits on the news, it sounds like a massive victory for the working class. It sounds like the system is finally protecting Marcus. But that is not how reality works. Wall Street does not lose. They simply rewrite the rules of the game to ensure they keep winning. Because of those institutional buyer limits, massive investment funds have pivoted. They are no longer just competing with you at the open house. They have stepped far beyond that. Now we are seeing the aggressive rise of the build-to-rent trend. These multi-billion-dollar funds are bypassing the resale market entirely. They are buying the raw dirt, the land itself, and funding the construction of entire neighborhoods where not a single home is actually for sale. Every single property is designed from the ground up strictly as a rental. This is the invisible architecture of our modern economy. The ultimate goal of this system is not to sell you a home so you can build generational wealth. That model is outdated to them. Their goal is to turn the basic human need for shelter into a monthly subscription model. They want Marcus to be a lifetime recurring revenue stream, a permanent user, a subscriber, never an owner. When you truly internalize this, it changes everything. You realize that you were thrown into a financial system fundamentally designed to extract your wealth. The algorithms and the policies are specifically calibrated to slowly bleed your purchasing power. That is not your fault. I need you to hear that clearly. The cost of living has detached from reality. Your only move left is to stop playing their game entirely. Let's look at the price tag of your patience, because staying still is the most expensive decision you're making right now. Suppose Marcus decides to listen to the hopeful voices in his head. He decides to wait 2 more years, hoping the rates will drop and the prices will crash. Over those 24 months, he continues to pay his $2,200 in rent. That is $52,800 completely vanished, a 100% loss. It is gone forever paying someone else's mortgage. Meanwhile, that modest $400,000 home he wanted to buy, it appreciates by that projected 4%. That is another $16,000 in lost equity, a quiet penalty just for sitting on the bench. When you combine the evaporated rent and the missed appreciation, Marcus has lost over $68,000 in net worth just by waiting. Just by trying to time the market perfectly. We have to completely change our philosophy about money. When you look at Home Affordability 2026, you cannot measure it the way a day trader measures a stock. You are not buying a house to perfectly optimize your return on investment. You're not buying it to flip it in a year and get rich quick. You are buying what I call defensive liquidity. You are buying the permanence of your survival costs. When you secure a fixed-rate mortgage, you are essentially freezing your living expenses in time. You are building a concrete wall between your family and the endless algorithmically driven rent increases of the future. You are taking your life energy, the hours, the sweat, the quiet sacrifices you make every day at work, and you are storing it in a physical asset that the system cannot easily inflate away. You are buying back your peace of mind. The system has a blind spot, and it is the only place left where you can still win. You must buy based on your monthly cash flow, completely ignoring macroeconomic predictions. Stop looking at the terrifying total price of the home. Stop trying to guess what the Federal Reserve will do next November. Look exclusively at the monthly cash flow. Sit down with a blank piece of paper and look at this simple reality check. If the monthly mortgage payment on a home at today's 6% rate is equal to or even slightly lower than your current rent, plus the guaranteed speed of rent inflation over the next 3 years, you need to make the move. You need to lock it in immediately. Do not let the fear of a 6% rate paralyze you. Remember this simple truth. You can always refinance a loan in the future if interest rates eventually decide to come down. You can restructure the debt, but you can never ever refinance the purchase price of a home that has already surged past your budget. And more importantly, you can never get a refund on the years of your life you spent living in a constant state of financial anxiety, waiting for permission to finally put down roots. Let's go back to Marcus. Let's go back to that ladder. That ladder isn't coming down. The system isn't sending a rescue team. Every second you spend waiting is a second you're letting the floor flood. Waiting for perfect economic conditions in a world engineered to keep you renting is a mathematical formula for self-destruction. The water around your feet is rising. Your only logical choice is to step up onto that first rung right now, exactly as things are the moment your cash flow allows it. You have to take that step before the massive funds buy the entire ladder and take it away completely. If you realize you are caught in this lifetime subscription model of living, share this breakdown with someone burning their savings while waiting to catch the bottom of a market that is not falling. And if you want to keep arming yourself with the rational philosophy needed to protect your life energy from a system that wants to consume it, you know where to find me.